name is Heather Ismay. I work at Triton Support Services as a speech language pathologist. And in this video, we're going to talk about social communication disorders and what therapy for a social communication disorder would look like with a speech language pathologist. And then I'll share some tips for parents who may be looking for support for their child who has difficulties in social communication. The first step to understanding social language development is to first understand pragmatic language. Pragmatic language, which can also be termed social communication, is the way that we understand and use language in our daily routines and interactions with other people. Social language or pragmatic language includes verbal and nonverbal aspects. So these are the two main aspects of social communication. Verbal language includes the way that we understand and use language with words for different purposes, such as to initiate conversations, ask questions for multiple purposes, or respond to others. The other aspect of social communication, which is nonverbal language, refers to how we understand and use nonverbal skills. So that means language without words in social situations, like eye contact, using tone and inflection in our voices, facial expressions, gestures, body language, the way that your body is positioned to the person that you're talking to or listening to. In terms of social communication being impacted by virtual means, there really is not a lot of research at the current time to show how this is going to impact total social development within children, whether they're school age or adolescent. So really the key is to have the children be exposed as much as possible to different social development opportunities, especially if as a parent you are concerned with these sorts of aspects of their language or social communication. So social communication disorders are characterized by difficulties in those areas of verbal and nonverbal language used for social interactions. Some signs or symptoms which can often be misinterpreted as the child may be having poor behavior to get attention or act out, may be present as difficulty taking turns or maintaining a topic of conversation, taking turns within conversation, forming appropriate comments or questions, starting and ending conversations when interacting with other peers or family members or familiar adults. So the key signs that I may look for as a speech language pathologist in a school age child would include those verbal skills such as maintaining a topic of conversation, taking turns in a conversation. Are there signs of poor behaviors, and are those linked to those social aspects, or can they be interpreted as definite behaviors? And so as a speech language pathologist who is trained to evaluate and diagnose social communication disorders, these are really the areas that we look for and try to create treatment plans tailored to your child's specific needs. Many parents may ask, what is the cause of social communication disorder? They may have had this question before virtual learning or as a result of virtual learning, given the changes in their child's social routines. There really is no cause that is known for social communication disorder as a distinct diagnosis by itself. However, research has shown social communication to be related to the areas of the brain which control language functions. So it would make sense that social communication disorder may also be related to those areas of the brain that control language processing and the way that we use language. There is no specific cure for social communication disorder, but children as well as adults who have social communication disorder have the potential to benefit greatly from therapy with a speech language pathologist, which will really help them to lead functional lives with healthy social interactions. Children with pragmatic language disorders may not have any other diagnosis or impairment outside of social communication disorder, but diagnoses that do commonly occur in the presence of social language disorder in children include spoken language disorder, disorders that involve speech or using language, autism spectrum disorder, developmental disability, Fragile X syndrome, and traumatic brain injury. Treatment is typically performed by a speech language pathologist, and depending on your child's specific needs, it may be in an individual or group-based setting. Sometimes group-based therapy is performed in order to set up opportunities for your child to interact with other same-age peers, and really generalize those skills that they may have learned previously in individual therapy, with an SLP to really direct and moderate sessions and make sure that they are targeting those specific goals. As a parent, there are a lot of things that you can do at home to enhance social communication with your child, especially in the time that we are living in now, where a lot of things are virtual. One is having a family game night, including all members of the immediate family, having parents and siblings involved, or whoever a child may live with, making it a fun event where you can all take turns contributing to an activity or a game in an accepting and collaborative way. And it doesn't have to be a very thought out game. It can be a simple game like Candyland, but just making sure all of the family members are involved in collaborating together. Another idea is planning weekly play dates with children around your child's age, whether virtual or in person. This may be family members, family friends, school friends, or even new children from parent-led meetup groups who may have the same social development concerns as you. Some sites or social media resources involve meetup.com. Facebook sometimes has groups that have these parent-led meetup groups as well. Including your child in visits with extended family members is also a great activity that you can use at home to enhance these social communication skills. This can be virtual or in person as well. Having them involved if you have a family member, who's on the other side of the country or in a different state, but you're FaceTiming with them, having them involved in that conversation so that they can use those social communication skills with unfamiliar communication partners. Another idea is planning family outings, whether virtual or in person. And this can sometimes allow for interactions with other children. A few ideas for virtual real-time outings that are available online in many areas include virtual concerts, virtual shared readings from local libraries in your area. Museum events sometimes have virtual outings, as well as theme parks even sometimes have virtual outings now. Eventbrite.com is a great resource to look into the virtual outings that may be available in your area, as well as recreational centers that may be in your local area. MacaroniKid.com is a great resource as well that has local events in many cities in the US for parents looking for family outings within their community. My last tip is to support social language is by talking to your child about these aspects of social communication that we previously covered, and whether it's verbal or nonverbal aspects of language within social settings, and really talking about how these parts of language change the way that others perceive your message. And you can talk about specific examples like the one I gave earlier, or you can use interactions that you may have observed them have with another person or another child, and you can talk about what went right, or you can talk about what went wrong and what could have been done differently. Just making sure to use positive and encouraging language, and this can really support your child's understanding of what social language is and why it's important.